This, you know, there's a lot of guns that you can get by with,
yeah,
that are not Nighthawk, and a lot are lesser expensive guns. But the bottom line is you won't find any that's any better.
yeah.
There's
a world of difference just in shooting.
They're the Rolex, they're the Ferrari, whatever you want to compare to. There's nothing, there is nothing finer. So, and once you get used to them, that's the worst part about shooting them, is that once you start shooting them, you never want to shoot anything else. It's
Don't
like,
tell me that.
You
ruined me on that one.
I've been accused of it's like we were where were we were doing an APOS class, and I let another officer shoot it right there, and he come up and he said, that's just like a crack dealer. They give you a little bit.
Give you a little bit, get you started.
Give you a little bit, get you started. All right, I'm gonna go hot. There, if I've got a mag or two.
You got a timer, you gonna time yourself?
I do, I got one right here. Got it on delay, so I'll do these for you. Ready?
17 targets.
I'm gonna have to do a reload. So.
Yeah. Okay.
I've only got 10 in here, so. Ready?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Mark. Go.
I needed all of them, didn't I?
I think so.
This one is it's also a Nighthawk custom. This is an Agent 2, also with our iOS cut on it. It is a single stack, and it shoots equally well as the President. I didn't do it.
Hi, this is Tracy Nelson, and welcome to my channel. As you watch this series on training with a pro, I hope you're enjoying it and I hope you get a lot out of it. And shooting with Matt is a pleasure. He's a friend of mine and a Christian brother, as you see on the videos. And before we go any further, I'd like to just share something. Every morning I try to study the Bible, and this morning I was reading a verse and it just kind of got my attention, and I want to share it with you. And it says that, and as it is appointed for men to die once, but after this the judgment. And that verse spoke to me because the realization is, to me, if I'll be honest, that we're not going to live on earth very long. Okay, we're here a short time, and then one day we're going to give an account for our life. In other words, we're going to face judgment, and we're going to be judged by the living God. Okay, now there's two types of judgments, and that'll be another, maybe another day to discuss that. But the main thing is are we prepared to go off into eternity? No matter who you are, no matter how old you are, that day could happen anytime. And even the best preparations sometimes don't prevent it from happening. And just like we saw last week with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So, man, I want to encourage you to get into this book and to study it. Not just read it, but study it and see what it says about eternity. Because we all are hanging by a very thin thread over eternity. And we need to be prepared for eternity. So trust Jesus. Okay? So enjoy the rest of the video.
All right, so what we're going to do is, well, first of all, let's face that way and let's go ahead and unload. We don't even actually have to shoot to do this right here. So he's going through the unload process. Notice that he pulled the magazine out first by the magazine release button. He worked the slide 3 times, visually and physically, and inspected it and checked it, looked away and looked back, okay? So now let's work on the grip. So the key fundamentals and the key principles of the grip. So let's go ahead and draw the gun out. And this is pretty much universal. We're going to look for contact points right here. So as he puts his hand, notice that he's coming really high on the back strap. What this is going to do is help negate some of the recoil. The next contact point that he's going to feel is with this finger right here. Is going to be driven as far up as he can underneath the trigger guard. then his hands, and we may have to spin around. We can point safely in both directions here. The next thing that he's going to see is he wants to probably, one of the most, the grip that I prefer the best is what we call the vice grip. That's where this hand right here puts pressure in these two directions this way, like a set of vice grip pliers squeezing in. Then his secondary hand is going to come in. We like to teach this with the thumb up. Notice that he's filling all this void on this side right here so that you don't see any of the gun. He's filling a contact point with this finger, which is his index finger on his left hand, since he's a right-handed shooter. He's as high up under the gun as he can get. He's just closed as much of the gap as possible in this gun right here. His left hand is going to provide pressure side to side on the gun, and his dominant hand is providing pressure front to back. How much pressure? A lot. So, you know, some people say 60-40, some people say 70-30. I generally ask, when they tell me that, I hand them my hand and I say, show me 70, show me 60. We don't really know. So I stole this from a friend of mine named Jared Hudson. A little, a lot, the rest from the chest. So what he's doing is he's putting somewhat of his grip, a good bit of his grip with his strong hand. He's using his non-dominant hand to provide a lot of it. And then as he extends the gun, he actually uses the frame of his body, squeezes his chest together, and clamps down on the gun. And we may have to back up just a slight, back up one step right there. Yeah, there you go. So that's a very good way of phrasing it. A little, a lot, and the rest from the chest. So now, once he does that right there, go ahead and take your hand off the gun and show him on the camera. You probably see the imprints in his hand. So he really is clamping down on the gun. Okay, you can see the knurling of it. So that's the grip, okay? Now, what if he's using a one-handed grip? Obviously, all of it has got to come from here. He can still use the vice grip technique instead of the rope grip where he comes around the side, but he's having to supply all the grip with one hand, okay? And so there again, he has to put enough force right here to effectively handle the gun. As to how much that can be depends on you, okay? If your grip strength is 100 pounds per square inch and it requires 50 pounds per square inch to, and I'm just pulling those numbers out of the air, that's not anything scientific, just for reference points, you would need 50% of your grip strength to control the gun, okay? So it varies from individual to individual. If your grip strength is 60 pounds per square inch and it requires 50 pounds per square inch to hold the gun, and again, I'm pulling those numbers out of the air just for example, it would require like 95% of your grip strength in order to control that gun. So it varies from shooter to shooter, but the key principle right here, high on the back strap, high under the trigger guard, front to back with this hand. If we're shooting with two hands, the non-dominant hand filling the void and applying pressure the other way, and sufficient grip strength to control the gun, whatever that is based on your physical ability, okay? Which generally is going to be clamped down on it pretty hard, okay? Because we want to control that. So let's talk a little bit about stance. We have a good safe direction straight behind us right here. The camera's on remote. So go ahead and draw the gun, point it straight at the camera right there. And that is there is no cameraman behind that, YouTube, okay? So a couple of things that we want to do when we're talking about grip, sights, and trigger, we want to make sure, and we probably need to turn the other way. So with an iron-sighted pistol, he's going to have to align the sights, and I think that's going to be explained in another video that's coming. We'll probably draw that out on a whiteboard. But see if you can point this way and get right in behind the camera to see it. Or maybe we'll just hold the gun in front of the camera, possibly. How about that? You get and tell me where it looks good right there. Okay.
Come on in.
All right, now.
Okay. All right, so this is the front sight, this is the rear sight. And I know that sounds very elementary, but the front sight has to line up into the rear notch. And what we're doing is now the front sight is way out of alignment, and you tell me when it goes into alignment there.
Keep going down on the front. Keep going down. Now.
Maybe I should, there you go. You hold it.
Okay, it's aligned right now with the black target.
Now we're probably not in focus. It's probably focusing on this sight. We want the camera to actually focus on the front sight here. So this is the sight that we're looking at right here. So the sight is in the center of the notch, and we'll draw that out for you a little bit later on.
Yeah, that's pretty good though. I think they get the idea, Matt, with
very good.
With the way it looks right now.
Very good. And of course, again, if we're using a dot, then we don't really have to worry about sight alignment. All we're doing is sight picture and superimposing the dot over that. Okay, but grip, sights, and trigger. The probably one of the most important ones right there. Well, they're all three. And again, I equate this to a three-legged stool. Let's talk about the trigger control. The trigger press, you need to be able to manipulate the trigger without upsetting your aiming solution, whether that is a dot on a handgun or the alignment of the sights. And when I do this, I'm signifying that this would be my front sight and that would be my rear sight, if you can see that. So equal light, equal height, equal daylight, and then we'll go over that later, maybe draw that out, but you got a pretty good representation of that. But of the fundamentals, if we have a good grip on the pistol, we have good sight alignment, and I need to tell the difference in sight picture. Sight alignment is where they are mechanically aligned. What we just demonstrated, where Tracy lined it on the steel target beyond us, was sight picture, and that is where we actually frame that up onto the target, and that is our sight picture. We can have good sight alignment, and we can have good precision without good accuracy. Precision meaning that we could fire 3 shots that all landed in the same place, but if they missed the mark, do we have good accuracy? So we look for both precision and accuracy when we fire the weapon, which means that we have to have both sight alignment and sight picture. The beauty of the optic sights is that we no longer have to have sight alignment, we only have to have sight picture. If we can see the target and we can see the dot that is superimposed on the target, then we will effect a good hit. So long, and this is our last point, that we maintain a good trigger press. And what we want to do is we want to manipulate that trigger in such a way that it does not upset our aiming solution as we fire the gun.
Awesome.
Okay. Okay.
God, it's hot, so you can move this one around.
But
Alright. I'm just going to have to start from the go here. Ready? Go. I think I had a couple of misses on that one.
Glock 17.
Glock 17, baby.
The old standby.